glad to talk about the Miami Hurricanes, and a little upset that it's a 3:30 kick. I wanted that night game. I wanted that to be, that's just what I wanted. Now, the game is going to end under the lights because, 3:30 kick goes a little late. It's going to be into that 7:30, 8 o'clock hour towards completion. Hopefully we're playing the backups and everything up by 5 touchdowns by then anyway. But still, I do wish that it was later. I get that. Look, Texas A&M fancies themselves to be a big brand. And I mean, obviously everybody knows they paid Jimbo Fisher $82 million. Sorry, more than that, to go and not coach. I tried to use a big number, and it wasn't even as big as the buyout. But it was like $109 million to go and coach somewhere else, even if it's on his own couch. And then Notre Dame, like them, love them, hate them. I'm in the last group for sure. Is like the Catholic University of these United States, and like they are a big, gigantic national and international brand. So putting that matchup at 8 o'clock, I get. Could have had Georgia. And I say that excluding the other team, more Georgia than Clemson, in the 8 o'clock game. But I mean, look, we've had other games against, the Gators at 3:30. It'll be fine. 99.9% will not be going now because, like, sitting in the heat in that swamp, like, I'm sure, like, it smells already when you drive through Alachua County, but then I'm going to stay there, like, all day in the heat and everything. I don't know about that personally. And especially because, like, I might be taking a family trip for my birthday, which is only 2 weeks before that. And then, like, hey, just like staying down here. Anyways, my point is it's 3:30. That's the time that we'll begin the game when we whip their ass. And everybody knows that. So make your plans, everything. If you're going to be in Orlando and drive up, which, I would definitely do that as opposed to staying in Alachua County or wherever you are and drive over there if it's in the southeastern United States. Kickoff at 3:30 from Ben Hill Griffin Stadium as the Miami Hurricanes beat the shit out of the Florida Gators on August 31st, which, as you all know, say it with me, my cousin's birthday.
Wouldn't you rather have a 3:30 game rather than a night game on the road? That's typically viewed as a substantial advantage for the home team at night, especially Florida, you got to say, is one of those premier home locations in terms of a home field advantage in the swamp.
I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference. And, like, this is a rivalry game. It could be played at 10 a.m. And I think that both teams are going to get keyed up. So, like, I don't see the kickoff time being that big of a delta change. So, it is what it is.
We appreciate all of you being here. Leave a comment, question. We appreciate the contributions as well, starting with Falconer TRX. Super sticker, coming off a couple of contributions on the Florida State show. He actually made a respectable comment toward the Florida State saga from 2023 as we were in the midst of a debate there, because I was making just some points that from an optics standpoint, from the standpoint of the committee having autonomy to make a judgment that it could be decided that Florida State was not one of the top 4 teams in the country. That's all I was saying. I didn't say that they didn't get ripped off. I had them in my playoff. I defended their position. I think that you count the wins and the championships. Therefore, they should have been given that place. But I do not believe that they were one of the 4 best teams in the country. And so I respect that decision being made, or I at least defend it because they are in the position to say, we don't go by records and championships solely. We've got all these different tenets, and therefore we make a judgment call. And we also have a trump card that calls for a quarterback or a major injury that could be in play. So anyway, Falconer TRX stood up for Florida State and said they got ripped off. They should have been in the playoff.
Well, I mean, a valid argument, not necessarily one that I agree with, but yeah, man, dope.
Leroy, the Black Ninja Turtle, super sticker out of you. Thank you for that contribution. We do appreciate it. And coming down the line, we've got Falconer coming back with Falconer will be in the swamp. Okay.
Nice. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of the better color orange, because they do have an orange in their color scheme, but orange and green. So yeah, we will. Miami Hurricane, like, no matter where we play, they might be a small in number, but like loud in impact whenever the Hurricanes go anywhere. Like, I know for a fact in, what was it, 2016, I know y'all heard me on the broadcast of that. Like, not even like, well, actually, there was another group that was louder together, because that's where most of the Hurricanes fans were staying or sitting. My buddy APD, he has a friend who lives in that area and has actual Notre Dame season tickets in the lower bowl. And so I sat with him in those seats. So well in the middle of the midst of the Irish fans. But I know that you heard me. I know that you heard me. And that happens no matter where we go, man. Like, there's only a couple. When we go to Tallahassee, even like last year, and losing in that game, it's so many more of the home fans and only a couple of y'all. But you hear us and you feel us. And I know that that's going to be the case on August the 31st in the Swamp. Hey, great for you, Falconer TRX, and everybody else who's going to go down up there or down from wherever you live. But yeah, man, it's going to be a good time. And as I watch from the comfort of wherever I'm watching from, I will definitely hear you guys cheering on our Hurricanes to victory.
Kim, you mentioned the color scheme and the overlap of the oranges, and I'm sure that you could be able to look at the two oranges and separate them, certainly side by side. However, that's a bit difficult to do on television or in a large crowd. So, you being the thoughtful person that you are, and in this one instance, I'm not talking about in a kind way being a thoughtful person. I'm just talking about being a person of thought who thinks things through. Would you show up at the game intentionally wearing the green to distinguish yourself from the Florida fans?
Absolutely, 10,000%. Yeah, and I lived my raps on that back in the day when the Miami Pistons. Wow, my God, let me try that again. When the Detroit Pistons and Miami Heat played in the playoffs all of those years in a row, me being from Detroit and being a Pistons fan, like, I have multiple pieces of paraphernalia. The first year that they did the whiteout, I wanted to wear my white 36 Rasheed Wallace jersey, but I couldn't do that. So instead, I wore my blue 1 Chauncey Billups jersey. So in that way, like I said, yeah, I do live my raps. I've done it in multiple other kinds of places. So yeah, I would intentionally wear the green. If it was like a noon kick, I might wear the white. Even though I know that, like, white is kind of a ubiquitous color to every uniform combination. But yeah, I would intentionally wear the green to stand out and be like, yeah, no, like, we're the green. Or if I really felt like it, like, forget what y'all talking about, I'm wearing Miami Hurricanes orange. Y'all just got to deal with it. I could see myself doing that as well.
And you mentioned the number of Miami fans that typically travel to games. So Miami is a bit of a mystery to me in this way. So if we harbored or guess at the largest fan bases in America, I think we could name about 6 schools, and it would be pretty easy that they're maybe not 1 through 6, but they're 6 of the top 9 or something like that. It's pretty easy. Okay. And if we could run a poll that was a perfect poll, not just a poll, meaning we could talk to every citizen of the United States, every individual in the United States, and say, do you like college football? Okay, you don't. See ya. Okay, you do. Who do you root for? And then they could prove that they're a true fan. They don't have to be an encyclopedia, but they're a fan. Okay. And then we counted them all up and we said, okay, Michigan, Ohio State, Notre Dame, we could add all the big boy. Miami would be wherever they would be. I don't know if they would be 8th or 15th, or they'd be somewhere in the top 10 or 12, I would think. Okay. I would think that they would be one of the schools that would have a more diverse in terms of geographic location spread out over the nation more so than most of their competitors.
Absolutely. And you see it all the time. I see it on Twitter. People, Micah Marsh Marshall Thomas used to write with me at State of the U. He's left sports journalism and transitioned to sales. So, he's flying around and making deals and everything. And every once in a while, when he pops on social, and he's from Utah, so he'll be out there and be like, "Hey, yeah, like I'm in the airport wearing something and see somebody else and take a picture. I flew out to LAX, or I flew out to Seattle, SeaTac airport, or I'm here in." I've seen people from like Boise, Idaho, and like Billings, Montana, and that I've seen from all kinds of places. People on social being like, "Yo, I went to," oh God, I forget who it was. Somebody was like, "Yo, I went to Pope, Italy, Vatican City, standing in line, wearing my Hurricanes hat," and I hear somebody else from a couple hundred yards away, "Go Canes!" And you're like, "What?" Like, we're over here going to the Vatican and like having that be a thing. Like, yeah, geographically, I mean, whether it's domestically or internationally, like, yeah, like Miami Hurricanes fans are all over the place. And it might just be, a couple here and a couple there, like not a huge enclave, but yeah, definitely more spread out and diverse, location wise than many other schools.
Have you noticed that I've tried out the green Miami theme tonight?
I see it. Yeah, with the backlight and everything for the Chiron and the scroll. I like it.
Yes, we have installed the LED lights in the back. When I popped on the orange, tried to give it both colors. The orange was not quite effective and strong enough to really for people to distinguish. Okay, that's Miami orange. So I went with a full green there. We've got our buddy Jackson Johnson who says, "Cam, what's your take on the Florida Miami game being on ABC at 2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern?"
Yeah, just really quickly, I set it off the top and everything, but I mean, look, I wanted it to be a night game. I think it'll be, I mean, it's still a spotlight game of, one of the three on that day, the Clemson, Georgia, our game, and then Notre Dame, Texas A&M. It fits, especially if you're looking back the last couple of years. I believe Florida State's been a 3:30 game for the last 2 years in a row. So having a rivalry type game in that slot for Miami works. And everything, and it just keeps the momentum of that opening day of college football going. Again, personally, I would have liked it to be a night game because that would have raised the probability of my personal attendance infinitely from what it is now, which is infinitesimal. Oh, look and see what I did with the words there. So I'm probably not going to go personally, but yeah, I'm down for whatever because I mean, look, it could be now, it could be in 10 minutes, it could be at 9 o'clock in the morning. We're going to go beat them at whatever time. So I'll be dialed in for sure, even if I'm not in attendance personally, but I'm with it.